The Invisible Woman. Maya Collins had perfected the art of invisibility, not the magical kind found in fantasy novels, but the subtle disappearing act that happened to women who had spent years dimming their own light to make someone else shine brighter. At 33, Maya stood before her bedroom mirror, examining herself with the critical eye she'd developed over 7 years of marriage to James Collins. Her chestnut hair fell in soft waves past her shoulders, and her hazel eyes, once described by her mother as windows to a remarkable soul, now carried a quiet resignation that she'd grown accustomed to seeing. The navy dress or the black one? She asked the empty room, holding both options against her slender frame. The question lingered unanswered as she heard the front door open and close downstairs. James was home early, unusual for a Wednesday. As founder and CEO of Pinnacle Innovations, a tech consulting firm that had tripled in size over the past 3 years, he typically didn't return until well after 8. Maya? His voice echoed through their spacious Victorian home in San Francisco's Pacific Heights neighborhood. "Upstairs," she called back, quickly hanging the dresses in the closet. "Just trying to decide what to wear for Saturday." Heavy footsteps on the stairs preceded her husband's appearance in the doorway. At 37, James Collins commanded attention, 6 feet tall with dark blonde hair, always perfectly styled, blue eyes that could charm venture capitalists out of millions, and a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Today, he wore a charcoal suit that Maya had picked out last Christmas, his tie loosened at the neck. "The blue one," he said dismissively, barely glancing at the closet. "Listen, I need to discuss something about the gala." The annual Pinnacle Foundation Charity Gala, the event Maya had been dreading for weeks. As the founder's wife, she was expected to play hostess to 300 of San Francisco's elite, tech moguls, venture capitalists, and social influencers who would donate generously to their foundation's educational initiatives while networking and posturing for position. "What about it?" Maya asked, sitting on the edge of their bed. "I've asked Vanessa to coordinate with the event planners. She'll handle most of the details you usually manage." Vanessa Reed. The name sent a familiar chill down Maya's spine. 30 years old, ambitious, with a marketing degree from Stanford and an uncanny ability to anticipate James's needs, both professional and, Maya suspected, personal. "I see," Maya said, keeping her voice neutral. "Any particular reason?" James loosened his tie further. "You seemed overwhelmed last year and Vanessa volunteered. She has excellent connections with the venue." "I bet she does," Maya thought, but merely nodded. "That's thoughtful of her." 3 months ago, Maya had found the text messages. Not by snooping. James had asked her to respond to an email on his phone while he was driving. The notification had appeared innocently enough. "Can't wait for tonight. Wear that blue tie I love." From Vanessa, sent at 10:23 p.m. on a Thursday when James had claimed to be at a business dinner in Palo Alto. Maya hadn't confronted him. Instead, she'd begun noticing things she'd previously overlooked. The late nights, the weekend emergencies at the office, the subtle change in how James touched her, less frequently and with less attention, as if completing a necessary task. "I'll need to check in with Sophia about the gallery opening next week anyway," Maya said, referring to her upcoming exhibition. After years of supporting James's dreams, Maya had finally returned to her first love, photography, opening a small gallery in the Mission District showcasing emerging artists alongside her own work. "Right, your little project." James's dismissive tone stung more than outright criticism would have. "Just make sure it doesn't conflict with anything important." Maya swallowed the retort that rose to her lips. "Important to whom?" she wanted to ask. Instead, she smiled tightly. "I've already checked your calendar." Later that evening, as James showered, Maya's phone lit up with a message from Sophia Mendez, her gallery partner and closest confidant. "Confirmed. Nathan Davis will install his sculpture series Friday morning. He asked about you, by the way. Said you two went to college together?" Nathan. The name triggered a cascade of memories, laughing in the Berkeley photography lab at 2 in the morning, heated debates about light and composition, a friendship that had teetered on the edge of something more before life pulled them in different directions. "We did," Maya typed back. Haven't seen him in years. Sophia's response was immediate. Well, he's single, successful, and still has that artist with messy hair vibe going on. Just saying. Maya smiled despite herself. Happily married, remember? She added a laughing emoji to mask the bitter irony of her words. As she set her phone down, she caught sight of the invitation to Saturday's gala on her nightstand. The Pinnacle Foundation presents Illuminating Futures in elegant gold lettering. Below it, smaller print announced James Collins and Vanessa Reed as the evening's hosts. Not James and Maya Collins, just James Collins and Vanessa Reed. It wasn't a mistake. It was a message. For the first time in months, Maya felt something crack through her carefully maintained composure. Not sadness or even anger, but a quiet, steadily growing resolve. Saturday night would indeed be illuminating, though perhaps not in the way her husband intended. Broken glass, the Fairmont Hotel's grand ballroom glittered under the warm glow of crystal chandeliers, transformed for the evening into an elegant showcase of wealth and influence. Maya stood near the entrance, greeting guests with practiced poise in her navy blue gown, a simple but striking silhouette that highlighted her slender frame. The dress had been a last-minute decision, chosen not because James had suggested it, but because it made her feel strong. Maya Collins, as elegant as ever, remarked Richard Zhao, one of Pinnacle's early investors, as he kissed her cheek. Where's that brilliant husband of yours hiding? Somewhere being brilliant, I imagine, she replied with a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Please enjoy yourself, Richard. The silent auction items are exceptional this year. For nearly an hour, Maya performed her duties flawlessly, circulating among guests, facilitating introductions, and ensuring everyone felt welcomed. No one would guess from her composed exterior that each scan of the room was actually a search for her husband and his marketing director. She finally spotted them near the bar, James in his perfectly tailored tuxedo and Vanessa in a daring crimson dress that seemed designed to draw every eye in the room. They stood too close, laughing with an intimacy that twisted Maya's stomach into knots. Vanessa's hand rested casually on James's arm, her ruby-red nails stark against his black sleeve. You deserve a drink, came a voice from behind her. Maya turned to find Sophia approaching with 2 champagne flutes. In an emerald green gown that complemented her warm brown skin, Sophia was a striking presence with her short, curly hair and bold statement earrings. My savior, Maya murmured, accepting the glass gratefully. Sophia followed Maya's gaze across the room. I'd say she's trying too hard, but subtlety clearly isn't in her vocabulary. Neither is professional boundaries, Maya replied, taking a sip of champagne. Speaking of boundaries being crossed in more positive ways, Sophia said, nudging Maya gently. Your college friend just walked in, and he cleans up rather nicely. Maya turned toward the entrance and felt her breath catch slightly. Nathan Davis had indeed cleaned up from the disheveled artist she remembered. His dark curly hair was still slightly unruly, but now framed a more mature face. His tall frame was wrapped in a charcoal gray suit that somehow managed to look both formal and artistic. Their eyes met across the room, and Nathan's face broke into a wide smile of recognition. He made his way toward them, navigating through clusters of San Francisco's elite with casual grace. Maya Collins, he said warmly, reaching for her free hand. 15 years later, and somehow you look exactly the same. Liar, she laughed, feeling a genuine smile spread across her face for the first time that evening. But it's wonderful to see you, Nathan. Thank you for agreeing to exhibit at the gallery. Are you kidding? When Sophia mentioned you were her partner, I would have displayed my work in a back alley if you asked. His brown eyes crinkled at the corners. Your own photography was always extraordinary. I can't wait to see what you're creating now. Before Maya could respond, the room's attention shifted as someone tapped a microphone at the front. James stood on the small stage, commanding the room's attention effortlessly. Welcome to the 5th Annual Pinnacle Foundation Gala, he began, his charisma washing over the crowd. Your generosity tonight will help bring technology education to underserved communities across the Bay Area. Maya watched her husband with a strange detachment, as he spoke eloquently about opportunity and innovation. The man on stage was both intimately familiar and completely foreign to her. The public James Collins, who charmed and inspired, so different from the distant husband who had been slowly erasing her from his life. "I'd like to recognize the incredible team that made tonight possible," James continued, "particularly our marketing director, Vanessa Reed, whose vision and dedication have been invaluable." On cue, Vanessa ascended the steps to stand beside him, accepting the microphone with practiced humility. The Turning Point dinner proceeded with excruciating slowness. Maya picked at her seared scallops while maintaining light conversation with the venture capitalists and their spouses seated at her table. From across the room, she occasionally caught glimpses of James leaning toward Vanessa, their heads inclined toward each other with the easy intimacy that had once belonged to Maya alone. "Your gallery is in the Mission District, correct?" asked the woman beside her, the wife of a prominent tech investor. "I heard your photography series on urban transformation was remarkable." "That's very kind," Maya replied, momentarily surprised. "We're opening a new exhibition next week featuring several local artists. You'd be welcome to attend." "I'd love that. Not everything worthwhile happens in Silicon Valley, despite what our husbands believe," the woman said with a knowing smile. The comment struck Maya with unexpected force. How long had she allowed her identity to be subsumed by James's world? Her gallery, her passion, wasn't just a little project, as James had dismissively labeled it. It was her voice, one she'd almost forgotten she possessed. As dessert was served, the hotel staff set up a small podium for the auction announcements. Following tradition, James invited donors and beneficiaries to share brief remarks about the foundation's impact. One by one, carefully selected speakers shared polished anecdotes about technology changing lives. From her peripheral vision, Maya noticed Sophia approaching her table, a determined look on her face. "Your turn," Sophia whispered, slipping a small folded paper into Maya's hand. "What? No, I'm not scheduled to speak," Maya protested quietly. "James's assistant added you to the lineup this afternoon. Apparently, there was a last-minute request for the founder's wife to say a few words." Sophia's expression was unreadable. "Vanessa probably thought you'd embarrass yourself." "Prove her wrong." Maya unfolded the paper to find a simple note in Sophia's handwriting. "Remember who you are." Across the room, the current speaker was concluding to polite applause. The master of ceremonies returned to the microphone. "Next, we're honored to hear from Maya Collins, co-founder of Aperture Gallery and wife of our visionary founder, James Collins." A ripple of surprise passed through the room. James's head snapped up from his conversation with Vanessa, his expression a mixture of confusion and displeasure. Vanessa's perfect smile faltered slightly. Maya felt hundreds of eyes turn toward her. For a moment, the familiar urge to disappear, to make herself smaller and less noticeable, washed over her. Then she caught Nathan's gaze from where he stood near the back of the room. He gave her the slightest nod, not of encouragement, but of recognition, as if to say, "I see you. I've always seen you." Taking a deep breath, Maya rose from her chair and walked toward the podium with measured steps. The short journey felt symbolic somehow, each step carrying her further away from the woman she had become and closer to the woman she used to be, the one who spoke her truth without apology. Standing behind the microphone, Maya looked out over the sea of expectant faces. She saw James's tight smile, Vanessa's barely concealed disdain, Sophia's silent encouragement, and Nathan's steady presence. "Thank you for the unexpected invitation to speak," Maya began, her voice stronger than she anticipated. "I was asked to share a few words about illuminating futures, which is quite fitting, as I've been thinking a lot about light lately, both its presence and its absence." She paused, unfolding Sophia's note and placing it on the podium. "As a photographer, I understand that shadows are not the absence of light, but evidence of it. You cannot have a shadow without light somewhere nearby. The deeper the shadow, the stronger the light must be." Maya's gaze moved deliberately to where James and Vanessa sat. "For years, I've stood in the shadows watching others shine. I convinced myself that supporting someone else's brilliance was enough. That love meant making yourself smaller so someone else could grow larger." A hushed stillness fell over the room. James shifted uncomfortably in his seat. I was wrong, Maya continued, her voice gaining strength. Real partnerships, whether in business, marriage, or community, aren't about one person dimming so another can shine. They're about creating more light together than either could alone. Her eyes found Vanessa, who was now staring daggers at her. Earlier tonight, someone suggested that some women belong in the spotlight while others belong in shadows. But what I've learned is this: we all cast shadows and we all radiate light. The question isn't whether we belong in darkness or brightness. It's whether we have the courage to stand in our own truth, regardless of who it makes uncomfortable. Maya could feel something shifting in the room and within herself. Years of carefully suppressed emotions crystallized into perfect clarity. The Pinnacle Foundation does remarkable work illuminating futures for young people. I've proudly supported that mission, but tonight, I'm reclaiming my own light. She looked directly at James now, meeting his eyes fully for perhaps the first time in months. I won't apologize for taking up space. I won't make myself invisible to make someone else comfortable. And I certainly won't pretend not to see what's right in front of me out of fear or shame. Maya's voice grew quieter, yet somehow filled the silent room completely. 7 years ago, I promised to stand beside a man I believed saw me, truly saw me, as I saw him. Tonight, I'm making a new promise, to stand firmly in my own light, whether anyone else chooses to see it or not. She stepped back from the microphone, added almost as an afterthought, "The silent auction closes in 20 minutes. Thank you for your generosity toward students who deserve every chance to shine." As Maya stepped away from the podium, the room remained suspended in silence for 1 heartbeat, then 2, before erupting into applause. Not the polite, obligatory kind that followed most speeches, but something raw and genuine that seemed to catch everyone, including Maya, by surprise. Her eyes found Nathan's across the room. His expression held no surprise, only a profound recognition, as if he were seeing someone he'd been waiting a very long time to meet again. As Maya made her way back toward her table, she passed close to where James sat rigid with barely controlled anger. Vanessa's perfect features had twisted into something ugly and revealing. For the first time in longer than she could remember, Maya felt weightless. Whatever came next, the confrontation with James, the gossip, the uncertain future, none of it seemed as daunting as the prospect of remaining invisible for one more day. The glass had finally shattered, and Maya had no intention of picking up the pieces. Aftermath. The remainder of the gala passed in a blur. Maya found herself surrounded by people, some offering quiet support through meaningful glances, others suddenly eager to learn more about her photography gallery. The invisible woman had become startlingly visible. "That," Sophia said, appearing at Maya's side with fresh champagne, "was the most magnificent thing I've ever witnessed." Maya accepted the glass, surprised to find her hand steady. "I didn't plan any of it." "The best moments rarely are planned," Sophia replied, though James's face suggested he's already plotting damage control. Indeed, across the room, James was engaged in intense conversation with several board members, his charming smile firmly in place but strain evident around his eyes. Vanessa had disappeared entirely. "Mrs. Collins," a voice interrupted. Maya turned to find Elizabeth Chen, one of San Francisco's most influential arts patrons. "I was unaware you were a photographer. I'd love to see your gallery sometime." "We have an opening next Friday," Sophia interjected smoothly. Maya's urban landscape series is featured alongside several emerging artists, including Nathan Davis's sculptural installations, Maya added, spotting Nathan approaching through the crowd. "Davis! His work exploring negative space is extraordinary," Elizabeth commented. "Consider me there. And perhaps we should discuss featuring your work in the spring charity auction at SF MoMA." As Elizabeth moved away with promises to be in touch, Nathan reached them, his expression a mixture of admiration and concern. "I think you just became the talk of every tech dinner party for the next month," he said quietly. "Only a month? I must be losing my touch," Maya replied, surprised by her own lightness. Nathan's eyes crinkled. "There she is. The Maya Bennett who once told our entire photography seminar that conventional composition was creative cowardice. God, I was insufferable," she laughed. You were fearless, he corrected. You still are. Their conversation was interrupted by James's sudden appearance. His public mask was firmly in place, but Maya recognized the cold fury in his eyes. Maya, we need to talk, now. His voice was controlled, his smile rigid. Actually, James, I think we're beyond talking, Maya replied evenly. But if you insist, it'll have to wait until we're home. I wouldn't want to disrupt your Foundation's event. Something dangerous flickered across James's face. You've done enough disruption for one evening, don't you think? Sophia stepped closer to Maya, a protective gesture that didn't go unnoticed. Is everything all right? Nathan asked, his tall frame subtly positioning itself between Maya and James. James assessed Nathan coldly. And you are? Nathan Davis, old friend of Maya's from Berkeley. His tone was pleasant but firm. Your Foundation puts on quite an event. New Horizons' 6 months could change everything and nothing at all. Standing in the warm glow of gallery lights, Maya surveyed the crowded space with quiet pride. Aperture Gallery had evolved from a modest showcase into one of San Francisco's most talked-about art spaces, featuring both established names and emerging talents. Tonight marked the opening of Thresholds, an exhibition exploring moments of transition. Maya's own series, photographs capturing the precise moment between decision and action, occupied the gallery's main wall. Sold another one, Sophia announced, appearing at Maya's side with 2 glasses of wine. She nodded toward a red dot newly placed beside a large photograph titled Release, a woman's hand letting go of a bird, the moment of freedom captured in exquisite detail. That's 5 tonight, Maya said, accepting the wine gratefully. Elizabeth Chen's connections are proving invaluable. It's not just connections, Sophia replied. Your work speaks to people, especially now. Maya understood what her friend meant. Since the gala 6 months earlier, her photography had transformed, more confident, more authentic, and resonating with viewers in ways it never had before. The divorce had been finalized with surprising efficiency once James realized Maya truly wanted nothing beyond what was hers. Their house had sold quickly, allowing Maya to invest in expanding the gallery and purchasing a small but light-filled apartment in Hayes Valley. James and Vanessa had made their relationship official 3 weeks after the gala. Maya had seen their engagement announcement in the Chronicle's society pages with a strange detachment, as if reading about distant acquaintances rather than her ex-husband. Your special collector is here, Sophia murmured, nodding toward the entrance where Nathan was greeting the gallery assistant. Right on time, Maya smiled. He's not my special collector. He's bought 4 of your pieces in 6 months, Sophia countered with an arched eyebrow. And he looks at you like you're his favorite photograph. Before Maya could respond, Nathan spotted her across the room and made his way over, navigating through clusters of art patrons with easy grace. In dark jeans and a gray blazer over a simple black shirt, he managed to look both artistic and polished. The show looks amazing, he said, kissing Maya's cheek in greeting. Though I'm biased since your work is the highlight. Your sculpture installation is drawing quite a crowd, Maya replied, gesturing toward the corner where Nathan's piece, a complex arrangement of metal and light that created different shadows depending on the viewer's perspective, had attracted a group of admirers. Collaborative effort, he demurred. Your lighting design transformed it, Sophia rolled her eyes good-naturedly. I'll leave you two to your mutual admiration society. The Hendersons just arrived, and they've been eyeing that large piece in the west alcove. As Sophia moved away, Nathan and Maya fell into the comfortable rhythm they'd established over months of Sunday morning farmers' markets, midweek coffee breaks, and long conversations about art and light and transformation. I have something for you, Nathan said, producing a small wrapped package from his jacket pocket. A small celebration of your successful show. Maya unwrapped it carefully to find a delicate silver pendant, a camera aperture design with a tiny perfect crystal at its center. Nathan, it's beautiful. It reminded me of what you always say about photography, finding the perfect balance between light and focus. His eyes met hers, I've missed you this week with all the show preparations." "I've missed you too," Maya admitted, surprised by how easily the words came. Their relationship had developed slowly, deliberately. Nathan had been patient, understanding Maya's need to rediscover herself before exploring what might exist between them. Their first kiss hadn't happened until 3 months after the gala. A gentle, questioning moment on her doorstep that had left Maya feeling both grounded and weightless. "Would you help me put it on?" she asked, handing him the necklace and turning around. His fingers were warm against her neck as he fastened the clasp. "Perfect," he murmured, his hands resting lightly on her shoulders. Maya turned to face him. "There's something I've been wanting to tell you." Nathan waited, his expression open and attentive, so different from James's impatient interruptions whenever she'd tried to express something important. "I've been offered a residency program in New York. 3 months at the International Center of Photography, starting in January." Nathan's face registered surprise, then genuine pleasure. "Maya, that's incredible. Their residency program is one of the most prestigious in the country. Sophia can manage the gallery while I'm gone," she continued. "And 3 months isn't that long, but it's an important opportunity," he finished for her. "One you absolutely should take." Maya studied his face, searching for signs of the disappointment or resentment she might have once expected. Instead, she found only sincere support. "I was thinking," she said carefully, "that San Francisco to New York isn't such a terrible commute. For weekend visits." Nathan's smile broadened. "I've always loved New York in winter. All that dramatic light and shadow. And then there's spring," Maya added. "Cherry blossoms in Central Park." "Sounds like research opportunities for a West Coast artist," he replied, his hand finding hers. Maya felt a rush of gratitude for this man who understood that loving someone meant supporting their growth, not constraining it. "Maya," Sophia called from across the gallery. "The Chronicle arts reporter is here for your interview." "Go," Nathan encouraged. "I'll be here when you're done." As Maya moved away to greet the reporter, she caught a glimpse of herself in the reflection of a glass display case, the pendant at her throat catching the light. Her posture straight and confident, her eyes bright with purpose. The woman in the reflection was both familiar and new. Still Maya, but Maya fully illuminated, no longer living in anyone's shadow. Later that evening, as the last guests departed and Sophia locked the gallery doors, Nathan helped Maya gather her things. "Dinner?" he suggested. "That new place on Valencia you've been wanting to try?" "Actually," Maya replied, "I was thinking we might go back to my place. I could cook." Something in her tone made Nathan look at her more closely. "I'd like that." Outside, San Francisco had wrapped itself in fog, softening the edges of buildings and streetlights. Nathan took her hand as they walked toward his car, their fingers interlacing with comfortable familiarity. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, noticing her thoughtful expression. Maya considered the question. 6 months ago, her answer might have been clouded with doubt or regret or fear. Now, looking up at this man who saw her, truly saw her, she felt only clarity. "I'm thinking about thresholds," she said finally. "How crossing one changes everything that comes after." Nathan squeezed her hand gently. "And what threshold are you contemplating now?" Maya stopped walking, turning to face him fully. The fog swirled around them, creating a private world of soft light and shadow. "The one where I tell you I'm falling in love with you," she said simply. "And that it scares me and thrills me in equal measure." Nathan's expression softened. He reached up to touch the pendant at her throat, then traced the line of her jaw with gentle fingers. "I crossed that threshold months ago," he admitted. "I've just been waiting on the other side for you." When he kissed her, Maya closed her eyes, surrendering to the sensation of being exactly where she belonged. Not as someone's wife or someone's support or someone's shadow, but as herself, fully seen, fully present, fully alive. The future stretched before them. Not a straight line, but a series of thresholds, each offering new perspectives, new challenges, new light. And for the first time in years, Maya found herself eager to capture every moment as it unfolded. Not perfect moments, true ones.